Okay, you walk on, baby.
Now you got to smash it. You got to smash it.
I'm angry, gentlemen.
Why are you angry? You shouldn't be angry.
I'm just kidding.
Day.
No, it is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful week, and it's raining like crazy here, man. It's like all night.
Listen, all you got, stop complaining. Stop complaining. You guys have nothing else to do but complain. You complain when there's no water, no snow, and then you complain when there is too much snow and water. What the hell is wrong with you guys out there?
Yeah, I know. We're like schizo.
You are.
And we don't know how to drive in anything other than perfect weather. Oh my gosh.
That's a fact.
That is a fact. It's crazy. So, gentlemen, what's up with that Laura stuff in the background, Steve?
You know what? I try and be live on site, baby, when we're doing Coffee Talk. So I am out in Orlando at the Laura Alliance show for a couple of days. And so I figured I'd be, really cool and have that crap in the background so the world knows where I am.
The crap in the background. Yeah. You gotta have the crap.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Hey, Bill, what have you been up to, man? It's been way too long. Way too long.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of activity going on. I mean, so 2 weeks ago, and we're gonna have a splash about it, but launched a new company.
Wow.
And this is with a couple of guys. I'll keep their names straight. I won't say their names until it's time. But launched a new company that is basically, at the end of last year, went through, looked at all the cities that we had worked with, looked at all the companies that we had worked with, and all the things that we had built, and heat mapped them. Because I kept saying, look, we've experienced very close to 28% year over year growth for the past 10 years.
Wow.
And that is, for me, I'm extremely happy, extremely, I'm gratified that the clients have actually stuck with us that long. But we looked at those things, and then it popped out, that, there's 5 to 6 things that they all are interested in. So we, decided, here we go. We're going to walk the walk. What problem are you trying to solve? We're going to productize those 5 things. We will not, it is not a platform. So let's
thank goodness
dispense with that up front. Cool. It is a series of modules that have a common base, but it's around security, it's around device lifecycle management, it's around digital twins, it's around all of that. So that's what I've been really working on for the past few months, just to try to get to this point.
The whole time you were explaining that, by the way, congratulations, that's freaking awesome, is that you would be the ideal depositor for SVB. You know what I'm saying, dude? It's like, obviously that's like the big news, right? SVB and the friggin' pseudo bailout. But that's awesome. Congratulations, dude. You know what? You are, I think, and Steve, you might agree with me because you're actually sort of in the same class as well, as an entrepreneur and someone who, started up their own business and grew that thing organically. That's how you do IoT. That's how you do so many other businesses. And this whole SVB thing, it is just, I think, an example of how a lot of capital has been committed and to a bunch of entities that have no fundamental value or growth potential, profitable growth potential. And that's why you get run on banks. It was like, I read this really interesting A.T. Kearney post, and I thought was really good. Usually I'm lukewarm about the, stuff from strategy firms, but some of the stuff is good. Right. And the there was one sentence that basically said it all, which is there's a difference between profitability and viability. So sure, SVB and some of these banks that have been banking on basically what are high risk derivatives or toxic derivatives, and crap depositors is the bank took a hit. Yeah, it was pretty big, but it was unprofitable. And we have a lot of unprofitable companies that have a quarter or two or three or four, or maybe a year of unprofitability because of an issue, right? Maybe some of that is mismanagement, but to fire that management executive team for a mistake, okay, and then not looking at the grander picture of why the hell was there a run on the bank? Because it wasn't an unviable bank. It was just not profitable for a moment, right? I thought that was a really cool post that was super clarifying. But of course, these guys are trying to sort of pivot things toward, hey, look, let's blame management. But I appreciated that they did highlight that, look, there was also an issue of viability in these banks. There's a reason why this contagion, or if it is even a contagion, started with a company, a bank whose depositors were mostly VCs and startups. There's a reason. And we shouldn't ignore it, but I think we're going to forget about this in about a month or two.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw the president and CEO of a very, very large LoRaWAN network provider here this morning. And the first thing he told me at 8:00 this morning was, thank God my money was still there at SVB because I had payroll on Friday. And he said he had the longest 4 days of his entire investment career begging and making sure that he could get his money out of SVB to keep the company afloat. So you look at those stories, you go, oh, can you imagine going through that agita for 4 days of that? But I also will say there was no other place to go for a lot of people than SVB, right? Around the country from an entrepreneurial standpoint, there weren't a lot of other banks, especially the traditional banks, maybe the community banks, but the traditional banks were not banking us for years and years and years. And so what do we do for backfilling? Like, where do entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley go now for money like that from a banking situation? Because Wells Fargo and B of A, they're not going to take those kind of companies.
Sure. But here's the thing. I can appreciate it, but there's a thing called collateral damage. And what I don't think should happen is that we take the cases of collateral damage and try to humanize and basically cover up a serious problem that we have, which is these high risk, speculative, non-value mentality of building businesses, and this notion that somehow that is how innovation happens, which is not the case. There's very few of these startups actually ever make it. That's a fact.
But that's
another fact, right?
That is the fact. But I mean, that's never going to change, though, Leonard.
Huh?
I mean, it's never going to change. I mean, you go out to the valley and these guys are.
I don't know about that. I don't know. So I don't know. Look,
80% of them don't get their money back.
And I love this, by the way, because we're arguing.
But I mean, because look, here's the thing. Yeah. I took a specific approach, 100%. Having been in startups and having watched the promise of, hey, come join this startup. We're new emerging tech. We're going to take over the world. We're going to do these things. And at the quote unquote exit, all I got shown was the door and maybe a few dollars. The guys up top were the ones that got paid out.
Right. That's the problem.
And we have to be real about that. And we have to be real about that. And that's why
for real. And so I was like, look, I'm going to do this. And like I said, at the, ironically, it was the 10-year mark. That's a flipping slow burn for real, and incremental. Let me go out, let me do my own biz dev. I did zero marketing, word of mouth, people trusting and believing that I'm going to deliver on what I say I'm going to deliver, and then executing a team that are 1099s to go out and help do this and stick with me throughout this period of time. Then at the end of the day, you say, okay, well, now, wait a minute, we're going to turn this into a real business.
Yeah.
And if you go back and you look at the early days, the .com days of what a quote unquote unicorn was, they did not take money.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a friggin' In-N-Out burger, dude. You're like friggin' In-N-Out burger. You just made profit day one, like my business, profit day one. I was feeding my family day one. I wasn't going out for a loan. I wasn't doing any of that crap. I built my business from the ground up, just like you, Steve. I know this, but no one else is doing that. They want to go and they want to get like friggin' VC funding and all this other crap, and their ideas are statistically 90% of them are crap ideas. I mean, they're not viable. They don't make it.
And the board continues to hire, as president and CEOs, guys that all they do for a living is raise money.
Yeah,
they couldn't sell their way out of a freaking paper bag.
I don't want to discount. I don't want to discount the grueling gauntlet of work that it takes to go out and raise money, because I've seen it.
It's painful.
Been a part of it. Don't want no part of it. But what I did see was, one, I did not want to be accountable at the very beginning for putting food on someone else's table. I wanted to first prove that I had the right stuff, and you move in that direction. But then in this next phase, what I promised was, we're going to do this organically. We're going to bootstrap the damn thing, and we're going to go out and we're going to do this, and it will be an employee-owned company.
Yeah,
where when the exit happens, we all exit with a bag.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and Steve, I get your point, man. I mean, ideally, the system should work in a way that fosters and nurtures, quote unquote, innovation, right, and technological development. But it hasn't worked like that in a long time. I mean, anyone who's there during the .com era saw Wall Street come in, because before, the investment banks were not there.
That's right.
There was like Montgomery Securities, and if you wanted to get an iBanking friggin' job back then, dude, I was trying to get an iBanking job in San Francisco. I didn't want to go to New York, and but then when the .com thing started, dude, you saw all this money come in. Ridiculous, just money looking to be placed, and that's what created this. It was a toxic environment. I mean, seriously, I lived in this crap, and it was not healthy. You had people taking half their salary, to join a startup for X number of what ended up being worthless stock options, and then kind of setting back their careers, because once you went from a six figure salary to now half of that, right, and you went and took a gamble, you get judged. They go, why did you do that? You had a great gig at a stable company. What kind of employee are you, and what kind of judgment do you have because you took a gamble with your career?
So Leonard, let's take the opportunity.
Say whatever you want.
Look for the future. Okay? So if this whole world was that we're talking about, was under your domain, what would you do now for the next several years? Because we're all in this shit together again going forward. Right. Yeah. So I'm very interested in hearing, okay, what do these people do? where do they go? Or are they all, they all don't have deep pockets in order to throw millions at what may be a really cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think here's the thing: is that there is going to be a residual effect of all of this, right? There's always when there's damage, it has to be a recovery period. And unfortunately, during that recovery period, everyone's going to have to figure out how to reconstitute the engine. But the problem here is that before we even do that, we're going to forget that there was how the damage happened, and we're just going to repeat it. What we see today is just a similar pattern of what we've seen during the financial crisis, the global financial crisis, which originated out of the U.S. Okay, and and the .com disaster and bubble, which originated out of the U.S. But the thing is that with the zero interest environment from these disasters that were sort of the policy response, we've basically run out of road now. This is it. It's like, I think at some point we do have to pay back. And the thing that scares the crap out of me right now is how China is looking at this. We don't like to think about that, but that's the thing that bothers me a lot, because, last year we were spending so much time making fun of China of their, real estate stuff. Look at this. And how does that reflect on the rest of the world and how people look at the U.S. culture of innovation? And that's where I think one of the things that hallmarks of the U.S. and United States financial system and our systems in general has been integrity and just the ability to be more trustworthy than everyone else. But if we continue to fail ourselves in front of the world, we lose a lot of that perceived leadership and trust, and that becomes material. So the bigger question is, do we adjust when we finally lose? And that's horrible. That is not what we should do. But we should wake up. My question to you is: will we wake up? Will we learn from this, or are we just going to bury it and then reset and start again?
But we're technology guys, right? So did this really, I don't think it changed on Monday our whole focus of innovation. What it changed was the fundamental funding of it, right?
No, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'll let you finish.
I mean, there's people are still innovating today. They're even after a collapse like that. I mean, they're still going out and needing funding. They're still going there. So
sure.
What did we lose? We lost dumbasses that didn't really know what they were doing. I mean,
no, did we? I mean, they have access to their deposits. I mean, it was kind of like a pseudo bailout, right? They're getting loans. We're rewarding speculation.
Well,
speculation is not innovation. I don't think. See, this is where I think we get confused. We apply a myopic view on the problem, saying, "Hey, this is a funding issue," but it's bigger than that. The question is, why did depositors look at the next guy and say, "Oh my God, we better pull our money out"? Again, going back to the statement that the H.D. Carney guys made, this is not an issue. This is a profitability thing. It's a moment in time thing. It's not a viability thing. But when you ask did the run happen, is because it was a viability problem. The depositors looked at each other. The VCs said, hey, get your money out as quickly as possible. That's how the run happened. Right.
I mean, it was the equivalent to me. It was the equivalent of having a conference room full of people and one person said fire. And people just that's what it was. Some people were running and didn't even know why.
Yeah.
Oh, so we should have listened to him on Thursday when he said, hey, listen, everybody, you need to calm down.
Oh, no. Here's the thing. It's like if everyone at the table was like Bill, was like you, okay, was like me, and we knew that we had businesses that were profitable and that the guy next to us had stable businesses too, because the bank wasn't dabbling in crypto and funding crypto guys at zero, you wouldn't be so freaked out. I would go, whatever. Okay. So the bank made a bad, decision and, investing deposits. Okay. It took a hit. All right. That's going to be shareholders getting hit. But as a depositor, why do I need to freak out? You're afraid of the next guy. That's why you freak out. And then the VCs come in and they're freaked out because they know who that bank is funding. They're funding the VCs and the startups, the unicorns, these companies that have largely no.
Okay. So is this a regulation thing?
I don't think so. I don't think it's a cultural thing, dude. We can try to regulate the crap out of this. It takes me back to, Rob makes fun of me for attending the Milken Institute global conference. But one of the things that I took away from there is that even guys like Michael Milken, who started junk bonds, right, went to prison for that stuff. He was like saying, this is ridiculous. What happened in the Nifty, Nifty 50? What happened to that? But that was investment funding mentality of the country. Anyone who was investing in stocks and all, if you came up to them with 90% of the crap that their brokers and finance people are trying to sell to you, the crypto guys, there would be no market for this stuff because the mentality was different. It was value focused. Now it's all valuation and FOMO and all this other ridiculous stuff. No, but it goes back to what we've been talking about IoT Coffee Talk for a long time, and it relates to, I think, this question of viability of business models and stuff like that, and economic models or industry models. Is is there a foundation of value here? And are you focused on value, or are you just trying to scale out and play the valuation game? That's totally different. And I think that's the toxicity, because you guys, and hopefully for our audience, and I know we should probably have a beer or friggin' shots of bourbon after this one, because I don't know why I'm so serious today.
Well, I mean, no,
friggin' scary. No. I'm like looking at myself going, dude, what the hell are you doing?
Well, listen, this is why we love doing what we're doing, because like at 8:00 in the morning, when a guy turns around and says, I was shaking in my pants for 4 days with my CFO because of it, and it hits home then because I like the guy and his business is fantastic and it's focused on profitability. But again, and Leonard, what I talk about a lot. Tomorrow's talk is how to make money with Laura Wayne. I just got approved to be at the National Channel Partners Conference in May in Las Vegas. How to make money in IoT, because it seems to be you can come up with the greatest widgets and the greatest technology in the world, but if you don't know how to sell this shit, I don't care. You can get all the money in the world. If you're not selling it and figuring out how to partner with people to get it down to the next level, it's not going to work. You're going to be broke. You're going to be looking for a freaking job.
Yeah. And again, there's the perpetrators and then there's the victims. And so they're the victim. And that's why I'm saying this stuff is so, all this hype, all this friggin', detrimental speculative mentality, it damages, it hurts people. Some deserved. Guys, people who are gambling, it's like friggin' too bad. Don't come and ask for tax money or government support. You lost. Right. But then in the same breath and the same motion, you have innocent people getting taken out. But those people should be pissed. They should be pissed at how the system, the culture took them out.
Okay. But you know what? So now tell me, what the hell do you do? So what's the answer?
I think really, I'm going to ask you, do you think we will learn from this? What do we think we're going to learn from this?
What did we learn from FTX? That's been 2 months. 3 months, whatever the hell it is. I mean,
well, we learned that it was BS.
Okay, well,
and it hurt a lot of people. There's a lot of, I mean, I meet a lot of people who are going, dude, that bastard stole my money.
Yeah.
Okay. So will they learn? But here's the thing that's disturbing. They haven't given up on crypto. They don't get it. This is like, they don't get the game. It's like, you're not the one making money, man. You're just a little shrimp in between a few huge whales that are playing the hell out of everybody. Because, I mean, that's a fact too. Go and look at how many people own most of the value of the cryptos today. It's just very few people. There's nothing democratic about this stuff. Yet we have these people somehow thinking this is going to be the future of finance and currency, blah, blah, blah. And it has failed every single thesis you can imagine. Every single one.
Yeah, it's at 24.5. I bought it really low. So Bitcoin's pretty good.
Yeah,
Ethereum, I made a lot of money in the last.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna, Steve. You're gonna call it diversification, and maybe I'll give you a pass on that.
Hey, listen, my wife and I made a lot of freaking money off that shit, so we're fine.
Yeah, I mean, Bill, what do you think? I mean, do you think?
I really think a lot of it comes down to. I mean, it's a philosophical approach to it all, right? I mean, I did what I did for a specific reason, and that is, I no longer trusted the startup idea of, I'm going to join this startup, and the promise of heaven and rainbows and unicorns and all of that stuff, and I was going to just be happy, with all these shares, you're going to get, millions on the exit, and every exit takes 10 years before you ever even see it. And then by that time, you're diluted. And it gave me a financial education by watching that and experiencing that I never wanted to do again. So at that point, I said, I am going to bet on me. Yeah. And I'm going to do it organically. I'm not going to take, because the minute that you take money, you no longer are that entrepreneur. Yeah. You work for the board.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So do you think that, as Leonard was asking, will all of these people learn that valuable lesson of having to become serial entrepreneurs?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because they want to leapfrog the whole exercise of the grind and get that money so that they, now you have a fiduciary responsibility to the board. The greatest fiduciary responsibility that you can have is to yourself.
And think about it. The VCs, what they're doing is they're raising funds. And some of these are really huge. They're based off of hype. There's some VCs that focus on AI. And the people who are, so they have their little friggin' deck, and it has a ridiculous number that's probably complete bullshit. And they have all these funds because they told everyone this is going to have a TAM of, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to have $50 gajillion market opportunity in 2 years. And they got to place all these funds. So they got to find as many bullshit companies and entities to place, and then turn around and be able to tell the investors they have a story that's going to support a thesis on a ridiculous returns.
In order to pay,
I don't know, man. That's to me, that just sounds like science fiction. I mean, that's like friggin' Lord of the Rings, like fantasy. Friggin'. Why don't we bring in the Balrogs and the dragons and friggin' elven princesses with like friggin' magic swords? I mean, it's just, again, going back to China. If these guys have been looking. I mean, have you seen Jack Ma anywhere?
Nowhere. He's
nowhere. One of the reasons is I don't
think he's alive anymore. Actually,
I know, and he was sort of the poster child for startup China. They squashed that crap, right?
They squashed him. He's in a rice paddy someplace.
No. Yeah, I know. They squashed a lot of stuff, but they look at this stuff and they're probably going, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, so here's
kind of, we cannot compete on fantasy.
No, I think there has to be a new education.
Oh yeah,
of business creation.
Up, people, wake up.
Yes, I mean, you have to think about this in a different way, because over the past 10, 20, let's call it 25 years, there's been an education of business owners, entrepreneurs, in terms of how to tell the story to get the funding from the VCs.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to tell a story of innovation, traction, and what the future is going to look like. And I swear, when they're doing this, Bruce Lee said, "Don't focus on the finger, or you will miss all that glory."
Heavenly glory, yeah. Bring old school, slapping little kids around, yeah.
Right, and I mean, there's so much to the grind that it takes, the work that it takes.
The work.
How do I go out and build that business? How do I build the following? How do I build the people that are going to actually talk about what I do and how I do it and how it's delivered? And when they come to me and they say, "Tell me about this," I'm not talking about AI. I'm not talking about this. I'm not. And 9 times out of 10, I'm truly not talking about digital twins. I'm talking about a single pane of glass that shows you what you want to see when you want to see it at various layers.
Yeah.
Because that's what the people really care about. Show me the answers that I'm looking for. Yeah. Don't tell me about your AI and your ML and your HIJK elemental P. Don't tell me about that. So, it goes back to the fundamental thing. And Leonard, we've said this so many times, right? What problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
Is there
How
a
are you solving
Is there a market? Is there a market with money?
Yeah.
Right.
Is there a market? Because I've seen so many pitch decks, and then I get to the money slide, and 90, almost 100% is like, where the fuck did you get that number? And the multiple, they instead of talking about TAMs now, they want to talk about what would our value be. And they basically take a multiple, this outrageous multiple of a unicorn, and they apply it to their own business. And it's like, you know what?
And you think people are going to
idiot?
You're going to
believe that slide?
Are going to believe that stuff? Exactly.
No, but they do. They do. They do. A VC under pressure will go and say, "Look, I buy that. I can sell that slide. I can sell that slide. I can figure it out. I know that is bullshit, but I can sell it because I need to place money. And if this guy has a slide and a story that sounds good, here's 20 million. Here's your whatever.
So who's wrong?
You know what? Here's the thing. We will have learned when the people who can be like you, it can be like Bill, do what they do, and the rest of the folks who can't, because this stuff is hard. Like you said, it's a grind. Sleepless nights. The entrepreneurial journey is friggin' scary as hell for 99% of the people out there. The rest of the people, look at people who are driving value, building organic. I mean, look at all the in and out managers make a friggin' ton of money, and they sell hamburgers,
Chick-fil-A.
man.
Chick-fil-A.
And if you get a gig there, man, they take care of you. So you want to go to the in and out. You know what I'm saying? So find people that actually have game and are actually delivering value to customers, because number one, that's going to be a much happier place to work, because you're not going to be dealing with like pissed off clients all the time, and a boss that's desperate to satisfy the board and shareholders and all this stuff. You have somebody who their only dedication is to customers and their employees, but that comes from like having a fundamentally valuable company. Going back to what you're saying, Bill, how do a lot of these smart startups attract people? They sit there and tell all kinds of ridiculous fantasy stories to attract people to basically take a huge pay cut from the gig that they already have, and then give them worthless, basically what amounts to statistically worthless stock options.
And that's because
I don't know how is that? This is a good.
I mean, people don't understand. I've got these shares, and they're talking about scenario modeling, and my shares will potentially be worth what? Your shares are worth zero right now. So that's what you operate with.
Yeah. That's what
it's worth zero.
Yeah. And they can't feed their family. It's like, I mean, I've seen it all,
But remember,
we're old guys. We're old. We're old, grumpy people, especially you, Steve.
Thank you. I resemble that remark, Leonard. I love you too, by the way.
Well, I mean, that's what there was a post. There was a post that was saying that about I think you were going back and forth on something, and it has something to do with Chat GPT or something like that. It was like, you guys are just grumpy, old grumpy guys. I'm glad that you're not over here because innovation would never take off. It's like, no, you got to call bullshit where there's bullshit.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
But I could be the only. I could be the only godfather of IoT who's paying the $20 a month to Chat GPT.
Oh my God, dude! Don't. I mean, seriously. Maybe we should talk about that next week because I'm telling you, there's some stuff that people aren't talking about. They should be talking about that crap.
I know, but you know what? It does spit out some really cool shit. It's
maybe that's.
I mean, but for real. I said it. I think it hit, and all of a sudden, people were talking about it. It was like 1 week, everybody was talking about it. And I was like, I said, first off, it's bullshit. Flat out. I don't care what anybody says. It's bullshit. Because if you're not willing to put in the damn work.
Oh, well, that's a problem. That's
okay. Put in the work.
But I'm going to tell you, but Bill, yes, you are 100% correct. But let me give you two examples of this Chat GPT shit. Number one is I had an IoT client that turned around and said, I want to develop a new marketing business strategy. And they said, okay, great. They go into Chat GPT and sends it and does this and comes out with a 27-page document on how to build an IoT go-to-market marketing strategy. Now, my wife has been doing digital strategy and has many IoT clients. Thank you. Do I see any money back from that? And I showed her and her business partner this report, and they said, "Oh shit, that's what we would design for them." So, is it preventative? So I am doing it because the things that I am asking it, my clients are asking me about, and I have to make sure that I know what the hell that damn thing spits out in order for me to protect my ass and my company.
Hey, yeah, go ahead. One more point, and then I got to go because I had to take to school. My wife is going to kick my ass, and my son's sitting there staring at me. It's like, Daddy.
Last thing I'll say on that is when it was released, the world became the PMF. You trained the model. You did all for free. So I got all of that for free. Thank you. I'm a genius because I threw it out there and everybody finished up my product for me.
Yep. Well, we got a lot to do with college campuses and high schools too, using that damn shit. We got to figure that one out because they're going to be able to, what are they going to do? They're going to submit something. And the last comment I want to make, hey, what's going on? Hi. So Friday, my lecture, because I think I told you I do the University of Colorado Boulder with that funded program. I have 60 students in my lecture on Friday because they are freaking out about not being able to get internships at Google, Facebook, or all the other big schools. So they're freaking out on what they're going to do for summer internships, and they're freaking out with the amount of layoffs because all of them and their professors have been telling them that that's where they need to go to work.
Well, find some real companies. There's hope.
Find a purpose.
Local entrepreneurial
work
company.
hard. Work hard.
Yeah, no kidding.
None of this
Find
like
a purpose.
entitled BS. Work hard. Just because you went to XYZ school doesn't mean that life is going to be easy. Bust your ass.
Bust your ass or
Burn it.
Listen, if you weren't in the right pool, marry rich.
There you go. Or become a YouTuber. Do some like us.
Yeah, that's what we are. Now, when we start moving our stuff over to that other tube channel, then we'll be okay.
Okay, I gotta go because I gotta take this little dude to school. So hey, to our IoT Coffee Talk listeners, thanks for tuning in. We got jam. We know this is a really serious one.
It's another rabbit hole.
Have a bourbon, have a drink after this one if you made it this far. And gentlemen, it was so good to rap with you. Right. I hope the audience found it interesting. So remember to subscribe, like, repost, and do all that nice stuff. And at www.iotcoffeetalk.com, and we will see you later.
See ya. Have a great day.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Later.